Welcome everyone to another episode of the Book of Man. We are back. It's me and Doc this morning. We got some topics, some things we want to talk about. You know how we do. I need y'all to like, share, subscribe, comment. Let us know how you feel. Let us know what you think about this, what you think about that. If we're doing something right, we're doing something wrong, this is the platform to talk about it. We love y'all. This is us, Book of Man, another episode. I am Jay Sims, the Lion, your big time host, out here trying to show you what I got going on. Welcome my man, my co-host. You know, really, it's me interviewing him. I'm trying to find out what he thinks about. What's going on, Doc?
Oh man, you know what? You're too kind with your words. Too kind with your words.
Hey, man, I gotta let them feel excited the way I'm excited to be here, man.
Man, I feel you, man, and I'm there too. So this is what we got today. A controversial figure that many people agree with, some people don't, and they don't like the way he says things.
Well, they don't like the way a lot of people say things. I'm not worried about that.
But a lot of us as men, we agree with what he's saying. Most of it, what he's saying is right on point.
I probably agree with him on about an 80% clip.
Hey, that's most. That's more than 50.
But you got to remember one thing about this fellow right here. This is an entertainment show.
That's right.
He's there for entertainment, and he does a great job at being entertaining. Don't let this man mess your household up. That's what I tell folks.
There you go.
Don't let him mess your house up. But I heard, but I, like you said, I do agree with a large portion of some of the things he says. Go ahead and play it, man. Go ahead and play the clip.
Okay. So what we're going to talk about, he's talking directly to some men right here. Now, I'm going to caution you. There may be some explicit language, just a little bit. So if you're offended by that, plug your ears at that part, but it's imperative to hear the whole message.
That's nice, Doc, but I'm not going to do that. We grown. This is a grown folks platform. And if you got your children listening, you should have them prepared for what may come. We talking to the young boys, but this is the world they facing. They're gonna be in a world where this type of language may be used. It shouldn't shock them. So we're not apologizing for that. We got to train them for everything.
Well, let's go. I just had to make sure the sound was on. So I'm gonna play it. Let me know if you can hear it.
Or 60 or 72. You matter. You matter. You count. Whether you're making 7, 8 figures or whether you're making 40,000 strong, you matter. And people don't tell men they matter enough. You got to tell yourself you matter. So even if you are just making it, just getting by, you don't walk around in this world acting like you are less than. Walk around with your head held up by your chest out in a confrontational stance with the world. You confront that shit. You don't duck your head. You don't bow. You confront. Bloodied but unbowed. You could be a bus driver, an Uber driver, cutting yards, stand out front of the day labor center. You do not bow your head. You are bloodied but unbowed. More people will respect you as a man just for the simple fact that even through life's troubles, rigors, and everything else, you stand. That's why I push back against all that fuck shit. You're a man. Be proud that you're a man. Even though you weren't raised to have any pride in your manhood, you can determine and reparent or redo whatever, whatever. Be proud of who you are. This is a good time to be a man. Be proud of who you are.
I agree. I think that's definitely some of the things we talked about here. I think confidence is a real issue among men. And I think the biggest issue is a lot of men, why they got the tiptoe. I don't want to touch this subject. I don't want to talk about that. They gonna get mad if I say this. They ain't gonna like me if I say that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's some groups I'm a part of on social media where I say the stuff that I know I know they're gonna have an issue with. I don't say it just to say it. I say it because it's true, or because at least I believe it to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I found, that when I say those things, and then they go, "Oh, you crazy," da, 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 and I say, you know what? This is what I believe, and I'm gonna stand on it, and I ain't coming off this. People stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I believe this. I'm not wrong. You may disagree with it, but you know I'm not wrong. And people stop. I'll give you an example of one of those such occurrences. You know, it was a debate. We were having a debate online, and I simply said, yes. I put the overall burden of whether or not a man wears protection during sex on the woman. How you gonna put that on the woman? I said, because she has the final say so whether or not that child is brought into the world. Yes, it takes two to make a child, but if you let that guy have sex with you unprotected, that's your fault. Because one, you could have told him no, because you control access to sex.
Yeah.
You control access to relationships. Women control access to sex. You could have said, no, you're not having sex with me without a condom. You chose not to do that.
Right.
If you didn't want to have a baby, you could have chose to take a plan B. He couldn't stop you. You could have chose to have an abortion. He can't stop you.
No.
All of those are, that's your choice. So yes, you have overbearing responsibility. But hey, well, that's not fair. It takes two. It takes two. I said, okay, well, I tell you what. If me and a woman are having a conversation and it turns violent and she hits me and I retaliate, am I not still wrong for hitting her? Because there's no reason for me to ever hit a woman, right? No, exactly. Even if she hit me first, it's still no reason for me to hit a woman. And why am I still wrong? Because that burden is on me. Because I know if I hit her, I suffer.
Right.
I go to jail. I lose jobs. I can't even get a government job at all with a domestic violence on my record. So regardless of the fact that I would have been right in defending myself, and regardless of the fact that it takes two to get into a fight, that burden is on me. I have to have enough maturity and wherewithal to back out of there. And the same thing comes with sex for a woman. If you don't want to have a baby, you got to have enough maturity and wherewithal to get out of there.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
That's right.
And people got mad at me. They're like, oh, it takes two. It ain't just a woman laying down. Look, man, we all got our own burdens to carry.
And look, I'm going to go ahead and say it in response to that, and I'm going to say something else. Whenever it comes to something like that, it's always it takes two, because no matter what happens in this world, it's always our fault.
Always.
Regardless, it does not matter. There are events that happened where the woman did something terrible, but it's the man's fault for not being there. It is. I mean, there's tons of stories. And if you want to see them, we'll find them.
Right.
But the thing I wanted to say though, and why that clip stuck out to me,
right,
is what he was talking about with confidence. And I'm gonna connect this, because this is why this is important, because people don't understand. And like I said earlier, I think that the world as a whole does not care about our boys. Even people who have boys as their children don't care about boys, because they will fight for feminism and another girl before they look out for their own sons. So what I'm saying though is that about this confidence thing he was talking about, and holding your head up, and being proud to be you, is that I see it manifest itself in our boys. You know, I have a boy in my class. Y'all know I'm a teacher, and the young man, his confidence is extremely low. It's so low till he won't even walk in somebody else's classroom to get his belongings that he left there the previous period. His confidence is so low that if you ask him a question, he will not even attempt to answer it, even though he knows what the answer is. His confidence is so low that when he walks around the school, his head is always held down low. His confidence is so low that when people talk to them, he can't look you in the face. confidence. So the things that we do and the things that we say are affecting our boys.
Yep.
They are. And that's why what he said, what Mr. Samuel said is so important. And what happens is these same boys, guess what? They grow into men that feel the same way.
Okay. It's it's a thought that crossed my head. And you tell me if I'm off base on this one. I said to myself, we raised, and I don't want to put the burden squarely on the shoulders of women, but in our community, there's a lot of single mother households.
Mm-hmm.
They oftentimes raise girls to be women.
Yeah.
But they bring they boys up to stay boys. They teach their boys how to be good little boys. They don't raise them to be men.
Let me drop something on you real quick. There are a couple smart people that I follow and listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, I'm gonna call his name. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. Dr. Tiason Johnson, professor of Africana Studies at Fresno State University. Very smart man. Very smart man.
Mm-hmm. I listen to him.
He has a term called ConcuSurf. ConcuSurf. And he says that a lot of the single parent households, they raise their boys to be ConcuSurfs. And what that is a combination of two words, concubine and surf.
Mm-hmm.
Concubine as the sexual relationship part of it. So they raise these boys to treat women how they think women should be treated.
Mm-hmm.
That means running bath water, rubbing feet, all the extras.
Mm-hmm.
But they also raise them to be the serf, which is the servant or the worker. Get out when you're 10 years old, get out there and pump the gas.
Mm-hmm.
You the man of the house. So, but you're the man of the house, but you don't make any decisions. So you're the worker of the house.
Right.
So these boys are raised as both of those things. So when they turn into men, guess what? They are a concubine and a serf. They're only wanted, and they think that their only role as a sexual object and a worker.
Right.
And then you get people complaining, saying, I'm not going to be with a man who don't know how to lead me. But you raised him to be a servant, so how is he going to be a leader?
Yep. Well, they teach men. I think women teach boys to be the fun stuff that they want from a man. They want a man to be there, like you say, to rub their feet when they're tired. They want a man to be there to take out the trash and do all the dirty work that they don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't teach a man to be they don't know how. They don't have the capability to teach a man to be a leader because they don't have there's no man there. They aren't men themselves. And there's a difference between being a leader. A lot of women are leaders in the professional world. I'm not saying they aren't leaders. A lot of women are leaders in the professional world. But the difference between leading the household and being a man of the house and leading at the job.
Totally different.
So a lot of these guys are being brought up have not seen this. A lot of women haven't seen it. They haven't been wives. They've only been mothers. They haven't been wives.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to us being out of order. But as far as how it affects the confidence, if all you see yourself is as a concubine or a servant, if you're not doing one of those two things, you ain't gonna have no value. So you're not gonna see yourself having a value, and you got to have more value in yourself than just those two things.
And to the people who think that that's not true, I want you to go back and look at your social media and look at what some of your female friends say about the men in their lives. Look at it and look critically at what they telling you, and the things that they talk about in reference to men, and what you'll see that I'm telling the truth.
Well, first off, I've long said that black men had a worse public image that can be found. We don't talk a whole lot of positive about ourselves, and then very few people outside talks positive about us. There's
Mhm.
not a lot of positive publicity for Black men in the world. We do a great job of self-deprecation,
Yep.
and our women, because they are largely unhappy, it would seem anyway, by what
Mhm.
they put out publicly, they are largely unhappy with Black men. We don't have, it's just a bad look, you know. But then when you start getting down into it and getting into the studies, into the real meat and potatoes that nobody talks about, Black men, you know, make everything we touch better just about. You know, we are on record. All the stats say we're the best fathers. We're the most active in our children's lives. You know, if you look at the per household, the two parent Black male, Black woman households are doing better than all the rest of the households in the Black community.
Yeah.
There's no other combination that's doing as well.
No, masculine energy is an influence
Right.
is needed. You know, now, let me hit you on something else, and I'm gonna go with this whole ConcuServe thing. If we taking that to be true, which that's an observable truth, um, much hadn't changed for the Black man since the times of slavery, because the purpose now watch where I go with this. Black men in slavery,
Mm-hmm.
their purpose was that of a ConcuServe. They had to make more slaves, which when people talk about abuse of slaves, they never talk about how the men were forced to make more slaves.
Right.
So that's the first part.
Right.
And
They took the
what
strongest
else?
male and made him sleep with as many women as they could.
Exactly. So that's the first part. And the second part is he had to work. Right? That what happened during slavery. And right now, based on what I just said, it's still happening. But it's coming from a different section of people.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, and this is the question I wrote down when I first watched that clip, is how can a man overcome his feelings of diminishment? How can he overcome? Because, you know, Kevin Samuels said, he could say, hold your head up, you know, it's a good time to be a man. A lot of good pep talk. But how can we overcome our feelings of that?
Well, I honestly think this goes back to something you said in one of our previous videos, self-mastery. And I think that includes, you know, your own self, but also having a skill. There's something about having a skill and having the ability to a certain extent, control your own fate. Like I take myself, I work where I work at. It's cool. It's a great job. But I walk around with my head up high and my confidence as far as on the money making aspect, because I know I have a skill set that says I will always be able to get money. I am good at this. And that's part of where my confidence comes from. Self-care, self-grooming. I think I'm a pretty decent looking brother. I got confidence that when I walk out the door, I know it's going to be some heads that turn because I walked in the room. That's part of where my confidence comes from. I know I can get on this platform or any other and speak with the best of them.
That's right.
And get the crowd excited and make people turn their head. And if I chose to get up on the pulpit and preach, I'd probably be a hell of a preacher. I know that. I know I can move the crowd. I know I can stand up and what I want to say gonna be heard in a room full of whoever. You put me in a room with the best in the world, and I can promise you I can stand on my own too. But that's where my confidence comes from, because the things that I do, I know I'm good at it. I think that goes back to one of the things with the education system. We need to go back to teaching people skills, because I don't care. Yes, what Kevin Samuels said just now was cool. Yeah, okay. You need to have some confidence, but it's hard to have confidence when you don't know you're good at anything. It's hard to have confidence when you haven't accomplished anything. You know, if you're walking around out here, like you said, you're a day laborer, no college, no college education, probably no high school education, never held a job down for probably any extensive amount of time. So you haven't had a chance to really get really good at anything. And if you're a day laborer or something of that ilk, and you're making the $40,000 a year, you're probably not doing a great job of taking care of your responsibility if you have a family. It's hard to have confidence in that situation. I've made $15 an hour. It ain't cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been there, and it not too long ago. This is a part of I'm at the end of the 3 or 4 years it's taking me to get here. I was down bad not too long ago. So I've been there, and I felt my confidence was, I had to really boost myself up over and over again.
Right.
My confidence was low. So it's hard. I feel it what he's saying, but when you don't have a skill set, when you can't go stand up on your own 10 toes and say, man, I can do this, I can do that. I know I can make it. I know I can push through. I know my skill set says blah, 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 X, Y, Z. It's hard to have a lot of confidence. And we don't teach skills anymore.
You know, I agree with what you're saying. I'm 1,000% there. But I think it's another aspect of it too. The way you view yourself. And you said something about that. And that's important. And I think that we need to take self-examination of ourselves. Every man out there needs to look at himself and determine who he is. Look at where he's been, look at where decide where he wants to go, and look at the people around him and where he came from. You know, that same little boy I was telling you about, you know what lifts his spirits? Now, it doesn't last very long, but I can get him. I said, you must have forgot. You must have forgot who your dad is. And you came from him. So why you can't be him? I even had to remind my own son, you know, look around, look at me. Look what I do. Look at what your granddad does. Look at what Papa does, what granddaddy does. You came from us. You can do that. You know, it's like every man, every boy has a thing inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like and it's wrapped up. And it has to bloom. But the society makes it and crushes it so often till many of them don't know how.
Okay. Now, what you just said, it put a thought in my head. You know, you said to the young man, look at your father. So
yeah.
To me, that implies you know that his father's there.
Oh, yeah, I met him.
Okay. Then you say to your own son, look at me, look at your granddad.
Yep.
Now, that's young men who have fathers in the home. The outside, that means I'm fairly certain they're learning some of the things that men need to learn. They're being taught some things about being men. This would mean that the outside influence, the social media world and all that stuff is so strong, and the negativity on Black men is so strong that even having a father in the home or having a father that's present in their life is hard. It's hard to be combat against the negative things they've seen about themselves and experience. That's hard. That's a hard road, man.
And look at this. Look at this. How often do you see parents call their kids bad?
Yeah.
He just bad. He bad. They look on social media, men bad.
Oh, yeah.
I had this conversation with a boy yesterday. He asked me about the rules of the school. And he said, well, why can't I wear a hat? When he know good and well in school, if a girl having a bad hair day, they let her wear a hat. You're trying to get a bad haircut. It's a no-go.
Right.
And, it hurt me because I had to tell him that I know it's not fair. And I know life is always going to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that we have to be hard and strong to get through it. And that's not right. I think that stunts us and leads to this what we're talking about, lack of confidence.
Well, hold on. There are things that are just going to be the way they are. What I mean when I say it is there are things that are quote unquote double standards.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. I tell my daughters this, and I tell people this all the time. Men and women are equal, but we are not the same.
That's right.
So I tell my daughters, yes, there are things I'm going to allow your brother to do at an earlier age than I'm going to allow you to do it. There are things I'm going to allow you to do, but I'm not going to allow your brother to do because he's a boy. No other, but daddy, that's not fair. I'm not here to be fair.
No.
I'm here to prepare you for the world that's coming.
And
the world that coming has a different requirement of him than it has of you.
That's
and
true.
The baseline of that requirement is you as a woman need to be able to take care of yourself. Him as a man needs to be able to take care of a family.
Yeah.
Just different. It's just different. If a woman can take care of herself, the world will support her. Oh, look at her. She out there doing her.
Yeah.
If a man cannot take care of his family, the world looks at him like less than. And it's that simple. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna apologize for the rules to anybody. Hey, that's what it's a raw deal. You got it.
Yeah.
Make your way through it. Now, is it cool that the girls can get away with stuff you can't get away with? No. But is it cool that it's certain things you can get away with the ladies can't get away with? Get over it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving through it.
We got to build from a baseline of we got to quit. We live in this fantasy world. A lot of people walk around in this fantasy world of this is how stuff's supposed to be. This is how, listen, it's messed up.
It is.
You know, you can try to explain to your child, oh, this is how it's supposed to be till you blue in the face. It does not change the fact that the world this child is going out and facing. Now, I'm not saying they should say, oh, this is wrong or this is wrong and not do anything about it. But you also can't let this being wrong or that being wrong prevent you from accomplishing what you're going after. Nobody promised you easy. Nobody promised you a quality of outcome. The quality of opportunity we can fight for. The quality of outcome is not a real thing.
Exactly.
So
all right. So this is where I want to go with this, though, and I think it's going to lead into some of the things we've been discussing that wanting to do on this channel, about how to overcome those feelings. And some people say, read books.
Yes.
Read books and align yourself with other men who are trending in the direction you want to go in.
Agreed.
Now, those two things by themselves, very powerful. But you also have to put those thoughts into action. So you just can't read it and talk to other people and not do anything. But I want to circle back to the reading part, because people will say, okay, read this book. But not everybody can get the value out of it. They can't extrapolate how it applies to life. So I think it's important to study books and to get with a group of people that's reading the same thing, so you could talk about the views and how it applies. Because when you're there with more than one person, stuff comes out of that.
Yep.
Viewpoints, because it's a multiplicative thing. When you by yourself, multiplying any number times one is still that number.
Right.
But when you multiply it by 2, now you double it. 3, now you 3 times more. So a group, they're saying is iron sharpens iron, as the man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Because that's the second part they never talk about. And it's imperative to align yourself with someone who's going in that direction that you want to go in, but also give and sow seeds to them. It's a two-way street. You have something to offer to somebody. And the more you sow, the more you're going to get back and reap.
Well, a book I've read recently in the last year was Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life, which I highly recommend. I think it's a great book. One of the rules in that is assume you can learn something from somebody else. Assume they know something you don't, no matter who it is. And if you go into any situation with the assumption that they know something you don't, then you go into the situation thinking you can learn. I think you're right. I think absolutely. I think most of us as men kind of too much exist in like a vacuum. We are isolated. We do a lot of hanging with. Some people do a lot of hanging with their homeboys, but they're not trying to learn nothing or advance anything, or they just hanging.
Mm-hmm.
We don't spend enough time, as you say, sharpening each other. Nobody wants to hear the criticism.
Yeah. You know,
And
I say when they say iron sharpens iron, right? But you got to sharpen yourself with the right kind of iron. Because some of it is brittle and you
right.
won't get a keen edge from it.
Well, and then, I used to say, well, there's a saying that says the iron that goes through the hottest fire makes the strongest steel on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to say, well, I must be the man of steel because I've been through the fire.
Okay.
and that's just to say, it does take some challenges
Mm-hmm.
to make yourself a little bit better and for you to learn. And I think a lot of us take the path of least resistance,
Yeah.
and don't ever try to improve. And I can say I've done this.
Mm-hmm. I know I have.
I've done this. I think I squandered at least 10 years of life.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wanting to be left alone.
Yeah.
It's a motivational thing that I listen to sometimes where it says, the guy says, you want to go in your house? You want to be left alone? Well, I'm not going to leave you alone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you go into your house.
Mm-mm.
And once you accept that, it does a couple of things for you. First thing, like you said, you can always look and say, that somebody did this to me, that to me. I don't subscribe to that. It's always my fault because I know if it's my fault, I also can change it.
That's right.
I'm not a victim, because if I'm a victim, that means somebody made this happen to me. I'm stuck there until they change their mind.
Mm-hmm.
No, what can I do? It's on me. If I was in a relationship and the relationship was crappy, I don't care how she treated me. I allow myself to be treated that way.
That's right. You picked the wrong one.
I picked the wrong one. That's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
If I got a job and I hate the job, guess what? I took the job. They made me an offer.
No, you stayed on the job.
And I stayed there. I could have left.
Stayed there. Mm-hmm.
But what I am going to do is find me another one, a better one, and learn from the mistakes and learn what I didn't do. But they on my back at the job. No, you let them be on your back.
Well, or guess what? You doing something you ain't supposed to be doing. You know what? I used to hear that all the time when I ran that warehouse. They say the people be on their back, doing this and that. But you coming to work late every day. Or every time somebody's trying to find you, you got the forklift back then backwards so you can hide in the aisle.
No, look, there's a guy, just yesterday. I look up, the dude gone. I don't see him. He come walking back into the warehouse with a piece of chicken in his hand. Said, man, I was just hungry. I had to go grab me something to eat. I said, okay, I respect that. We come in here early. You may not have a chance to eat. Cool. But here come break time. He still wanted to go on break. No, sir.
You took your break before.
You took your break already. I need you to quit. I need you to keep working over there. Man, it's break time. No, you had that chicken on my floor in one of your hands, so you couldn't even work with both your hands. You was on break then.
Mm-hmm. I'm quite sure but you know what? I think that goes back to respect.
Right.
Respect, because I guarantee if he would have came to you and said, man, I'm not feeling good, I need to grab something right quick, I ain't feeling right, he wouldn't have had no problems.
None. Because look, I recognize we got to be there at 5 a.m. There's a lot of mornings go by, I don't get a chance to eat nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm in management. I've worked my way up into management. Guess what? I can go off the floor and go get me something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I earned that right.
That's right.
You ain't earned it yet. You ain't. I looked at your resume. You ain't held on a job more than 2 years, and you 30 years old.
Well, that's why.
Exactly.
That's why.
So don't get mad at me when I tell you can't go to break. But I say that to say we have a lack of accountability, and if you don't have a level of accountability for yourself, that means you don't have a level of accountability for the people around you.
Yeah.
And if there's no accountability and there's no standard, how can you then have confidence that you can do anything if you can't even hold yourself to a standard?
Yeah, much less everybody else.
Right. The first part of accountability is self-accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hold yourself to a standard. And what I found out is once you begin holding yourself to a standard, the people around you that can't meet that standard or remove
they-
themselves. They
Oh,
will
yeah.
remove themselves.
real
And,
quick.
and you'll only attract other people who have some standard. When I started saying stuff like, you are what you repeatedly do,
Mm-hmm.
excellence then is not an act, but a habit.
Yeah.
People stop wanting to be around me when I started moving in that manner. Oh man,
Mhm.
you always trying to do the you act like you trying to be a star. Brother, I ain't come here to be a forklift operator. I came here to run this warehouse.
That's right.
So no, I don't want you around me. If you trying to
No.
sham and bullshit, I don't want you around me because I'm trying to make myself look great so I can move up.
Is that remind me of something I told my son? They have something, he plays online games with his friends, and we monitor all that, and it's cool. But they have something they call a try hard.
Mm-hmm.
So they play in the game like, oh, you a try hard. And that means somebody that's putting forth a lot of effort all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him that you need to be a try hard in life. You want it to be to every time people see you, they be like, oh crap, there he go again.
Yep.
I want them to look at me and, I'm coming with the fire every time, no matter how small it is.
Right.
It's like playing basketball with Jordan. Jordan never played around.
Right.
Every time he set foot on that, it was a battle. Every single time. Even if it was, they just at practice or they just fooling around. Right. Always try to 100%. And I do that everything in your life.
Yeah.
Everything.
And listen, it's not easy. I had to learn that. A lot of time I was bull driving. I can admit that. I was playing. It took my wife at the time, she said, you say you want to do this, but you don't stick nowhere. You don't even stay nowhere long enough. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? She right.
Mm-hmm.
And the very next job I got, I made it up in my mind. I'm going to be the very best employee at this company because I'm going to move up. And I did. Once I made up in my mind, I was going to be the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
But not just good at the job, but good at being an employee, coming to work.
Be a good follower.
Right. Come to work on time. Contribute do what I'm asked to do. Contribute the way I'm asked to contribute. Follow the rules and policy of the building. It didn't take long till I worked my way up and made it into management. And now I've been in management ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't never got to go back. I could have done that 2 years ago.
So why do a lot of men not want to put their best foot forward? Why do we always try to dodge work or make ourselves seem like less?
I think it starts in the Black community. I think it starts with school. You know how you got people who intentionally don't make A's and B's because they don't want to seem like they acting smart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where that connotation came from. I hated to fail.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to fail. Now, fortunately for me, school came easy. I didn't have to work that hard to pass and make good grades. At least I don't feel like I did. But
I didn't.
I didn't never want to fail an F. Like I felt like you had to try harder to make an F than to get a B. Yeah. Like to me, I was like, I gotta really not do shit. Like who wants?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where it starts from. For whatever reason, there's a lot of African American boys that feel like failure or being average is okay.
Yeah.
Not.
Well, a lot of us not even at average yet. That's the issue. And I'm not just talking about. I know a lot about kids.
Right.
I'm there, but even adults, a lot of us not even average.
Right.
And we have no desire to become more. No, we don't have any desire to be average.
Right.
That's the issue.
And I think it goes back to that whole confidence thing. People just feel like this is the version of them life, the version of themselves. They've decided that's who they are. And they know I could be a better version, but it's going to take XYZ amount of work. Mm-hmm. And that bit of work is scary.
It is.
And listen, I've done a lot of work in the past 3, almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an almost totally different person than I was 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of self-reflection. It might take some tears.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a lot of acceptance. It took me at times saying, you know what, I'm a pretty shitty dude.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in regard to my relationships. I was pretty shitty in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to be honest with myself. We aren't honest with ourselves.
No.
It goes back to keeping them same friends around you that tell you all right.
Mm.
The minute you get around those type of people, you realize how far you got to go.
Yeah. Now, I saw a program this morning, and I'm going to share it with you because I want you to watch it. But the people that said, you know how you are what you surround yourself with.
Correct.
Right. Now, they broke it down even further. They said that you are the top 5 people that you're around most of the time.
Right.
And that 4 of them you should be learning from.
Right.
And 1 of them you should be pouring into. So look around. Are you learning from your top 5 people? Now, even then, even me, I call myself doc and I do all this educational stuff. I got all that, but I still learn from people who don't have that, because things that I'm not good at and qualities I don't have, they do have. And I have to work at it to get those qualities, whereas other things come easier to me and I show that to them.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to evaluate who you are around. So, and it all connects to this confidence thing, because we're trying to do too many things by ourselves. We're not trying hard enough. And we're surrounding ourselves with people who don't count, people who keep you drugged down, keep the shackles around your ankles.
Right.
You know what? Reach out to somebody that's a nerd. Be friends with them.
Somebody different, just different. You gotta see more than one angle.
Yeah.
Everybody can't see the same angle, man. It's too many ways of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. That don't mean it's the best way.
Or that is another way.
Right.
It's something different. I used to hear that teaching those kids in the hood, they thought their only way was to do illegal things. And that was their goal. They didn't know that it was another way out there.
Right.
I told you about the kid when I told a little girl that she can be a dentist. She was like, I can be the dentist for real? She really did not believe she could be a dentist.
Okay. So through my job, we do a lot of stuff with the film industry.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday we were doing a job at the Atlanta home of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up having to go up to his home.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go and you see that kind of stuff, you realize the difference between doing all right, rich, and wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay. This man is wealthy.
Very.
And I said, man, I want to bring my son here, not to meet The Rock or nothing like that, just so my son gets to come into a neighborhood and have something to aspire to.
Yes.
And I think there's a very big issue with aspiration and it being so limited in America. So yes, that was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's house, and yes, he's an entertainer. Nobody else in that neighborhood is.
That's true.
Everybody else in that neighborhood is a business owner, doctor, engineer. It's a million other jobs. It's a guy that stay down the block. He don't own nothing but a plumbing company. Stay in a multi-million-dollar home. Owns a plumbing company. So it's not nothing to, we as our people, we need to see these things.
Yeah.
Our boys, especially our boys, need to see something bigger than their little neighborhoods. Something bigger than being a basketball player or an NBA player or a rapper. I swear in Atlanta, you can't walk out. I can't walk outside and throw a rock without seeing at least 7 rappers.
All day long.
Hey, that's cool. I wish you the best, young brother. But
if you only knew the likelihood, the percentages of these things.
Well, it ain't even that. Most of them don't even care about being a rapper. They want the lifestyle.
Yeah.
They don't even love rap. They want the lifestyle that they think being a rapper brings. And most people don't really love or care about or want to do anything they're doing. They want the lifestyle.
Yeah, because you know what? I saw a speaking of rap, there was an interview with Busta Rhymes I watched. And what I pulled from it was his passion for what he does and how they work. And when he broke down how the tempo of a song influences how he writes his rap, I mean, like he used to spouting off percentages and numbers and all of this. And I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to do, willing to go into it.
Talent you have naturally. I am a talented orator. I am a talented speaker. Skill you only have from years and years and years of honing on your craft. I'm just beginning to develop skill in this. And starting to pay attention to some of the things I do, uhs and ums and all that kind of stuff. I'm just now starting to learn how to really do this. But I've always had this talent.
Yep.
Skill, on the other hand, when it comes to, I run a warehouse. I have skill in that. I'm top 100 in the world, and I say that with confidence because I know the effort and the energy and the time I put in to becoming very, very good at what I do. I don't have a college degree. So for order me to get where I am, I had to outwork everybody.
That's right.
I had to be that good. So there's a difference between talent and liking something and wanting to do it and developing a skill to the point where you know what you're talking about. So you know what you're doing. There's a real skill involved in this thing. And most people don't have the time, energy, inclination to develop skill.
And let me share something with you, man. I talk to my son a lot, a lot. And this is a theory I came up with, but I shared it with him about momentum. And I'm gonna make a separate video about this, so it's coming. But momentum is, we need momentum to achieve success. And what momentum is once movement starts, is how you pick up speed and how you keep things going. And there's a scientific formula for momentum. Mass times velocity, right? Mass times velocity equals momentum. That means that the size of something times how fast it's moving. That's how the planets go around the sun. Momentum. Gravity pulls it and swings it, and momentum carries it the rest of the way, and it keeps doing that. But that also is true in life. Now, let me break this thing down for you. Mass is the things you're doing to achieve your goal.
Okay.
Right? Velocity is how often you're doing those things. Okay. Now, to gain more momentum, either you have to increase the mass or increase the velocity. What that means is that either you have to do more things to try to achieve your goal, or you got to do more of those things more often, or how my son said it, is that you have to be more consistent.
Consistency is the key.
So those two things, you can be more consistent with something, or you can do more of the things that you're trying to, that's going to help you achieve those goals. That's how you gain momentum. That's how you become good at a thing. And that's how you increase your confidence in life. It works for everything.
I agree. I think that's absolutely correct. I think we have to do more like what we're doing. We got to spend, and what Gus was talking about. We got to spend more time mentoring in the face of talking with young men. Had a young man just recently. Unfortunately, he's no longer with the company because he just couldn't grasp some simple interpersonal skills. But I thought the kid was rather impressive, to be honest with you. He had a good work ethic and a thirst for knowledge, but he continued to hinder himself, quite frankly, because he didn't want to listen to anybody.
Conformity.
Right. He really felt like the only person that could tell him what to do was me, the supervisor, the manager. Nobody else could say nothing to him because they wasn't the suit, they wasn't the manager, even though they knew what they was talking about. And that caused his situation to be very confrontational because he'll be doing something wrong. I can't stand. I got too much to do. I can't stand by the
you got time for that.
I ain't got time for that. I need you to listen to the guys who've been here for 6, 8 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Because I can't stand next to you and hold your hand. And he couldn't grasp that. And I think there's a lot of young people, young men in particular, who have no interest in hearing what older gentlemen have to say. But let me tell you why I think that's our problem as older men. We haven't been there the whole time. So you can't just show up when the kid's 15, 16 years old, start telling them what to do. He's like, man, I'm almost grown. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. Or if you're going to show up, you got to show up and stand and stay.
Yeah. And it's easier. It's easier when you start from the beginning. Right. If you come late, it can be done, but it's a whole lot more difficult.
Right.
It's a lot more. And then also we have to understand, as a teacher, I've gotten this. You keep planting seeds, even though they're not listening, you keep planting them and they will grow. You might not even see it, but they'll grow. We can't stop. You can't stop talking to them. You can't stop telling them. You can't stop showing them. You got to keep doing it.
That's right.
Because when they come to their senses later on, they're going to remember that. And
you just hope something you said or did keeps them from making the mistake that won't allow them to grow into what they can become. That's my biggest fear with young men. I know myself, a lot of lessons I learned as a kid, or I should say a lot of lessons I was taught as a kid, I didn't learn until I was a man. I was just fortunate enough not to make any of the big, huge mistakes that prevented me from being able to at least some levels in some way accomplish some of the goals I had. Far too many of us as black men make the big mistake before we learn.
Yeah. And you know what? I think another issue is we rely too much on feelings.
Yeah.
Feelings and emotions. We make decisions off of feelings and emotions. And that's why we get messed up every single time. Instead of using logic.
Well, one of the things this is probably one of my biggest talking points right now. I every so often I have these different talking points when I'm speaking to people. And one of the big things I say to people right now is, if it's a short-term decision that negatively affects a long-term goal, it's a bad decision.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Point blank and period. If it's a short-term decision that has a negative effect on your long-term goal, it's a bad decision. Now, here lies the rub.
All right.
You have to have a long-term goal for that to work. And I wasn't teaching people that when I first started saying that. I didn't realize that till a couple weeks later after I said, you know what? I'm assuming everybody has a long-term goal.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't.
No. And that go back into knowing yourself, because they don't know how to set their goal. Then you have to know yourself to determine what that goal is going to be.
Right. So that made me take a step back from some saying. I said, you know what? My first thing I need to say to you isn't what I just said. My first question is, what is your long-term goal? Where do you see yourself in a year, 5 years? Because you can't every decision is a good decision if there's no long-term goal for it to affect.
Because you're wandering.
If it feels good right now, you're going to do it. You don't have anything down the road to look forward to. All you care about is feeling good right now.
That's it.
So it made me kind of backtrack from that statement. It's a very true statement.
But 100%.
If the person has a long-term goal.
So maybe on a subsequent show, we need to talk about how to set those goals.
Absolutely. We got to talk about goals.
We'll put that one on the calendar.
We got to talk about, because if you have no goal, you can't hold yourself accountable, because you're not working towards nothing.
No.
No matter what you do, you ain't working towards nothing. You don't have a goal. You can't weigh and value the decisions that need to be made, because you're not working toward nothing. You have no direction in life. If you don't have any direction in life, what you doing out here?
It's just Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
One of my first sermons, well, actually my very first one out the gate was called The Walking Dead. And it referenced the show and how people are like zombies. And they walk around with no purpose but trying to find the next meal. And where I got it from is I used to live in the hood, man. When my wife and we moved from Florida, came back home, and we got a house off of 37th and Atlantic, right on the corner. So we was there. And I remember seeing, man, I would see dudes and they would just be wandering around all day long. Just walking from this house to that house, wandering around. I mean, and that's The Walking Dead because they have no goals, nothing to work toward. And so many of our young men are The Walking Dead because they just don't know.
They don't. Sitting under, they walk from house to house or sitting up under a tree.
That's it.
That's it.
Trying to get the next thing. I used to call them smelly thugs. Smelly thugs because they never was home, didn't have a home, so they could only wash every now and then, and they had 3 shirts or 2 shirts. There was a name brand shirt. Now they probably went to the Stad shop and got that shirt. It had some Coogee jeans, but that was all. They didn't even have a bag.
Shop.
That's it.
You talking about old Savannah now? They don't know about that Stad shop.
Hey,
they don't remember that.
I ain't gonna tell you no lie, man. I would go to the Stad shop and I just got to do what we talking about by having goals. I had a goal in my mind back then. I wanted to keep my money.
Yep.
And I go in there and see a pair of jeans for $125. That was a no-go. That was a short-term decision that would have affected my long-term goal.
Would have negatively affected your long-term goal. But you had a long-term goal.
Yeah.
So the entire base of my premise doesn't work without making sure I help people establish a long-term goal. I can't talk about you being accountable. I can't talk about you making the bad decisions. We have to. I think one of the issues with lack of confidence is you don't have anywhere you're trying to go.
Yeah.
If you're not trying to go anywhere, what are you standing on?
No.
What do you have to be confident about? So
honestly, you don't even know what you want to be when you grow up. That's what that is. You don't even know what you want to be when you grow up.
Right. So what baseline do you have for confidence?
Yeah.
You don't know what you want to be when you grow up. You don't know. You don't know what you're doing from day to day. Of course, you don't have because I think the issue and why a lot of young men, especially black men, don't have confidence is we don't know what we're trying to do. You've either decided it ain't much out there for you, or you haven't decided anything at all, which is even worse.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, absolutely, goal setting has to be a priority. You have to be willing to work with something, and you have to have some resiliency when plan A don't work or plan B don't work and plan C don't work. Don't mean you stop.
Yeah.
You might have to adjust. You might have to do some things a little different. I think sometimes people come out the gate and say, oh, I want to be this. And when that doesn't happen, they don't have anything else.
Well, honestly, a lot of things they say they want to be or want to do, they are completely unaware of the steps that it involves. If you ask anybody out there, a lot of them going to say, you say, what you want to do? Oh, man, I want to be I'm going to be a millionaire. Right? Or you see people post stuff like millionaires wake up at 4:00. Okay, you up at 4:00. Now what? You know what I'm saying? Like so the goal has to be something more than this money. Money is a measurement tool.
Right.
It's there for so you can know if you're doing the right thing.
That's it. Money is a measurement. You're correct. It is not a goal.
Because when people say that, okay, my goal is to make $1 million. But if you don't make any money, then you give up. It's a measurement, not a goal.
Your goal, I always looked at my goals, is how good I'm going to be at something. Because I truly believe if I'm good enough at it, I can make a lot of money doing it. You know, I'm extremely good at what it takes to run a warehouse and all the parts and components to it. And I make pretty decent money doing it. I know I have a talent for this speaking thing, but I'm going to get really good at it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of money doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Believe that. Understand
well,
that.
Look, bro, we on the journey together. That's why we doing this, because that's me.
So I don't, why? Yes, I want to make money because it means a better life for my children. I'm not attacking anything from, I want to make $1 million. I'm attacking it from, I'm going to do this as best as I can do it. I don't think people look at stuff like that enough.
You know, it's tied back to purpose.
Right.
Every man needs to find his purpose. A warrior needs a battle to fight.
Right.
And you got to find your battle. Now, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit biblical here, but it's gonna make sense. In the Bible, at the beginning of time, right? God made man, he told him to go out, beasts of the field kind of thing, take care of the stuff. But when he made Adam had a job. His job was to care for the plants and animals in the Garden of Eden. He had a specific purpose that he was made for. When God made the fish, their purpose was to swim. When he made the eagle, his purpose was to fly high. And that's what he do. If you don't have a purpose, you're not living.
Right.
And that's what you say. You have a purpose. Your purpose is to be good at what you're doing. My purpose is to help people become better versions of themselves. That's why I have a company called Better People.
Right.
And I do it every day. That's why we own here.
Right.
To help people find their way. Now, in terms of money, we need money to get by. We need money to go, but money is not the goal.
No.
But it comes with me doing what I got to do.
And listen, if I'm good enough at what I'm doing, if I'm good enough at it, I will make better people.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm even with something like my current day job, if I'm good enough at that job, I will get the result I want. If I'm good enough to speak to here, I will help people be better. And that's why you cannot focus on money as a be all end all goal.
Exactly.
You can't even focus on so much of, if I do this, I do that. You got to focus on it as in a wide range. What I like to make my personal steps very small,
right?
But my results, to make my results very big. That's right. I'm not truly interested in how many people listen to this show. I am interested in making this show as good as I can make it every time I get on here.
That's right.
Because I know if I make it good, if I speak well, if I do a good job, people will listen. If what I'm saying is true, right and good and true, if what we believe is right and good and true, like we say it is, everything else take care of itself.
Well, and that's why you need a good partner who's good at other stuff, because I'm the backroom guy and all that. Because I know the more people watch the show, the more we can influence other folks. But then they watch the show. Why? Because we're good at what we do.
Good at what we do.
So you don't have to worry about that part. I got that part. You just keep being you and keep doing what you do. I take care of that.
and I think that becomes from my own ability to develop my goals, which goes back to and I think developing goals, having a course of action that you want to take and move forward in life helps you instill confidence. As you, back to what I said earlier, as you accomplish each goal, it feels good. Let's take something small like saving money. You remember that when you first tried to save some money, you could never really do it?
Oh, no.
And then when you finally got to the point where you were saving some money, you went back and looked at that account, and that first $500 was in there. Then that boy hit 1,000. Man, it felt good, didn't it? You be like, I'm really making some headway.
That's right.
everything else works the same way.
That's right.
If I want to get my degree, cool. You want to get your degree, and you failing every test, it's gonna be hard to stay motivated to get
That's
a degree.
right.
But if you passing some tests, you're getting a couple A's, you're gonna start feeling more and more confident.
I can do this.
I can do this. And we need to do more of that. That's that we as African Americans, as men, as Black men, we gotta develop our goals so we can develop our confidence. So we can hold our head up. You can't hold your head up if you have nothing to be proud of.
That's right.
And that starts individually first, and then as a group.
Yeah. And
I want to be
that's how,
proud of myself, so I have no issue pointing over to you and saying, well, I'm proud of Doc.
yeah.
I'm proud of Gus. I'm proud of C. Wright. I'm proud of Frank. I'm proud of all the Black men. I'm proud of Curtis Reese and all them boys I see on my page doing big things and
That's right.
being coaches and showing other young Black men some positive things to see in this world. I'm proud of them, boy, because I'm proud of myself. It's hard to be proud of somebody else
Yeah.
when you don't have no pride in yourself.
And it make you take a look at yourself. That's why you got to surround yourself with people that's going in that direction.
Yeah.
So you can be better and they don't mind putting a hand down or beside them to pull you.
Right.
We pulling. There's gonna be other times when you pulling them. Everybody got something to contribute.
Yep. So that's what we need to work on, man. So yes, Kevin Samuels was right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we got to hold our head up.
That's right.
Yes, we got to have some confidence. Yes, absolutely. Yes, you matter, Black man. Even more than you think you do. You matter, Black man. And yes, you represent all of us.
That's right.
Each one of you out there represents all of us. That means I'm holding myself accountable, and I will hold you accountable too, because you represent me. No, you are not a single thing by yourself. You're an individual, but we are a group.
Mm-hmm.
And they count us together, so we must represent each other together.
That's right.
And all that being said, man, I love y'all. This is Booker Man. I'm gonna turn it over to Doc for his closing statements. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Matter of fact, put your goals down in the comments. Give me 2 goals. One long term, one short term. Doc, what you got?
I'm gonna piggyback off that. I want to see some goals down there, short term, long term. And if you need help, please send me a message. We can talk, we can message back and forth, and we can figure it out together. I help. Otherwise, man, confident, you are okay the way you are. You are not bad. Might make some bad decisions, but you are not bad. You're not evil. You are more than just a CompuServe. You are a man and you are human. And remember that. You are important and we love you and we're here to help. So with that, man, that's all I got. So remember, y'all do all the things, like, comment, share, subscribe. We're trying to reach a goal. We just started a new channel, trying to get 25 subscribers. So if we can get 25 subs, we'll appreciate it. That just show us that we saying things that's resonating. We saying the right thing. So, support your boy. Help us out a little bit. We appreciate you. So with that, that's all I got.
Hey, we love y'all, America. We out.
Later.